This is the J. Ramone podcast, KATT.com for all of the episodes. And we are here with very special guest, Barry from Shinedown. How are you today, sir?
I'm good.
Thanks for coming.
It's my pleasure. Absolutely.
So this is the first time for you guys to play a KATTFEST here at Luckystar Casino. But I want you to know there have been some legendary shows here at Luckystar. I saw Stone Temple Pilots twice with Scott here.
Nice.
Snoop Dogg, Willie Nelson, and Cool and the Gang, all right here at this venue. So
that's good company to be in.
Yeah, that's pretty
I'll
good company to be in. So I was watching an interview with you earlier, and you were talking about some of the toughest bands to open for because their crowds are so harsh on the bands. And Maiden is the obvious one. We all have heard those stories.
Yes.
But I had forgotten that you guys opened for Van Halen too. Like, you guys really didn't like shy away from it, and there wasn't just a couple. There was like 5 of these mega bands that you guys went on the road with.
We're not shy.
I love it.
We like the challenge.
I love it.
It's not easy, but you know, getting put in front of those fans and in those large crowds, especially when we were a younger band, you know, if you can turn 10% of those into Shinedown fans, then we've done our job. And that's what we did on those tours, is we just slowly, one after another, on those tours, just try to win the crowd over, because that's our job.
So you don't know this, but years and years ago, when you guys had just released 45, it was before I worked in radio, and I was in a band, and we were booked to play this radio festival in Tulsa that was kind of like tonight on a Tuesday, downtown Tulsa, and it was Velvet Revolver, the Distillers, the Music, the Burden Brothers, and I can't remember who else. And we were obviously on the like small local band stage off to the side.
Sure.
But the Distillers backed out like 2 weeks before the show. And you guys were already on tour with Velvet Revolver, and 45 comes out. So you guys get thrust into this show at the last minute. And my mind was completely blown. But I have been bragging to Daryl all week that, oh, yeah, I'm the only guy up here who's open for Shinedown. So,
Fair enough. Yeah, that was a weird. Speaking of bands to open up for, that was a tough tour with Velvet Revolver. They were a great band. You know,
it was a big production. There was a lot going on.
Fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Even though I don't think they really got along with each other. It was a lot of fun.
So my youngest son, William, is 6 years old, and I take my 2 boys to school every day. And when you guys released Attention, and Get Up comes out, that became his go-to song. Every morning, as soon as we got in the car, Get Up, Dad. Like, that was my cue.
Nice.
Throw that on the radio. This is what we're jamming to get ready for school. And so when the hot sauce came out, I told him about it and played the song and, you know, reminded him. He's like, oh, yeah. He got real excited, and then he gave you the thumbs down. So I apologize. He would like you to make a Shinedown ketchup instead of a hot sauce.
The seasoning gets to him. I understand that. Maybe he should have tried the Symptom first, because that's not really spicy.
Yep.
My 13-year-old daughter likes that one, and she does not like spicy.
But I was proud of him. He tried it.
Hey,
you know,
give it
he
a try.
went for it.
Maybe we'll make ketchup.
But he still likes the music.
That's more important.
So when I was in high school, and I was like 14, 15 years old, I spent 2 summers in the Ukraine, and I took Tabasco and Sriracha and Louisiana hot sauce with me over there. And all of the people that I met who were from the Ukraine, they had never had anything like that, and they were completely blown away by Sriracha specifically.
That's a great hot sauce.
Oh,
it goes
absolutely.
On just about anything. I love it on pizza and stuff.
So one thing, after watching these interviews, you talk about how you try to find local hot sauces wherever you guys are playing.
Correct.
So I ran to the store on my way out here and stopped and bought you a couple of bottles of made in Oklahoma hot sauce.
That's awesome. Thank you.
So I wanted you to enjoy that. And
have you had the sauce yourself?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love it.
How spicy is spicy?
It's not going to, like, the heat level's not going to scare you away. It's not crazy Scoville units.
It's got good ingredients too. Thank you.
So I heard you talking about learning to cook with Emerald.
Yeah.
And I know your kind of Creole background, and I was very disappointed you didn't say you learned how to cook from Justin Wilson.
Well, I didn't say I didn't know about Justin Wilson and or have his cookbook, which I do at the house. But he wasn't, on TV where I was at the time. So when I was
like 25 years old when I found out that he was a stand-up comedian. I only knew him as the Cajun Chef on PBS. And so I bought all these old Justin Wilson records on vinyl. He was a really legit stand-up comedian.
He was a funny guy, and his recipe book, I forget what it's called. It's Justin Wilson's something, but it's a red cover, and if you can find it, it's just a wonderful cookbook, and it's all his
Let me
family
let me tell
recipes.
you what I'm going to do.
I can't put on the accent otherwise I try.
I'm not near Cajun enough. So Daryl has a couple questions for
Sure.
you, Barry.
Now, when you're doing the hot sauces, before doing them, did you ever like mix the hot sauces that were available in the store? Because I've had a couple of friends, and they would basically mix their own hot sauces. They'd buy the hottest things ever, and then just mix it, and then eat it. Did you ever do that, or
No.
How did this come apart, or how did this begin for you?
My love of hot sauce began when I was a little kid, and my parents are from Wisconsin. Even though I have Creole background and like my dad's mom is from that whole area, Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, Slido, Louisiana, all that, they grew up eating Midwestern food, and it was very basic. So when I, growing up, it was meat and potatoes and very,
Right.
bland-ish kind of foods, which is very typical.
Now,
but
did
I
you-
grew up in Panama City, Florida.
Oh, okay. Did your parents get you into that? Because I remember my
No.
dad, he would sit at the kitchen table, and he was an alcoholic. He'd get off the road, off the truck. And one of the memories I have of him is eating jalapeno peppers. We lived in Liberal, Kansas. They just weren't store-bought. These were from the Mexican community, so they were a lot harder. And I just remember him drinking a Coors beer with sweat just pouring down his bald head. And my twin brother and I thought it was the most hilarious thing. We're like, why are you torturing yourself like that? And now that I'm older, I do that every once in a while. And like I told you earlier, mixing sriracha sauce and vanilla ice cream, I kind of, gave myself like, oh man, why did I do this?
Right,
Why?
right.
Why? And even then, it took me like 2 or 3 minutes just to gain my composure.
Sure.
So that's why I was kind of curious.
Yeah, my love started with just basic Tabasco because it was so new to me. We didn't grow up with spicy food, and when I found it on a friend's table, and then I started putting on everything, it grew
Right.
from there. As an adult, and when I started cooking a lot for myself, it was, and I love to garden, I love to be outdoors, so I'd grow my own peppers, and if anybody's grown peppers, you get into abundance. You can't just eat them all. So
Yeah.
I got to make a sauce, I got to freeze
So-
them or whatever.
What's the hottest pepper you've ever grown?
Right now in my garden, I've got some Trinidad ghost peppers that are growing.
Trinidad.
Yeah.
Because I've worked for guys and they've grown their own peppers.
Got
And
some
one of them
Carolina
was
Reapers as well. Scorpions are brutal.
And he brought some salsa verde, and I tried one bite, and I was coughing for at least 10, 15 minutes.
It'll get you. And I don't like to use those peppers straight up. I like to use them in a sauce, but like
Yeah.
one per batch of sauce. Because
Right.
they really just are too overpowering, but they're pretty. And I like growing them.
Yeah.
They kind of keep the
Now,
squirrels away.
speaking about growing them, have you ever accidentally itched your eye after, forgot about that you forgot gloves on, or that,
I've done that. I've also used the restroom. Both ways were not a good thing.
both ways? Oh, my God.
Yeah, it hurt for a while.
Well, hopefully you don't do that tonight before you go on stage. That'd be bad times.
No, I can't eat too spicy before I go on stage. I'll be burping it up throughout the whole show. Nobody needs that.
Barry, we appreciate it. Thank you so
Pleasure.
much.
My
Looking
pleasure.
forward to it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Tonight.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
I got some shirts for you to sign.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely.